Harmony is more than just chord progressions.
Ongaku concept.
I talk a lot about harmony and chord progressions on this channel. One of the big reasons for that is because I love harmony, and so I talk about it a lot, and I talk about chord progressions a lot. And something I've been thinking about a lot, something that's just been on my mind a lot the past few months, is how chords work and how chord progressions work. When it comes down to it, there are no chord progressions. If you look at stuff like 4-part harmony stuff, from classical composers, they didn't think in terms of chord progressions because the idea of chord progressions didn't exist. At least as far as I understand, it didn't. They wrote melodies and they harmonized them multiple times and created this whole system. I'm a guitarist. Many guitarists can probably attest to thinking the way I do. They think of chords as blocks because that's how we play them. And that's how we use them in a lot of rock and pop situations, which is what we play. And that's fine, especially when it comes from a playing perspective, because that's all you gotta think about. But when you're looking at composing, it becomes advantageous to think about chords in a bit of a different way. Because chords are not blocks, they're groups of notes that work together, but they are independent. For example, the dominant chord. I've talked about the dominant chord lately. I did a video on the tritone substitution, which showed how the tritone inside of a dominant chord can be abused to create more substitutions for the dominant chord, which can take you in different directions. Just to illustrate, a G7 chord. Well, what is a G7 chord? It's the 5 chord in the key of C, it's the 5 of 5 in the key of F, it's the 5 of 6 in the key of E flat, but let's say we're talking about a G7 chord in the key of C. What can you do with that chord? If you think about the way dominant chords are used, the way those notes inside of the chord function and where they can move, you can get a lot of different outcomes. You can resolve to C, you can resolve to A minor, you could resolve upwards to A flat, and maybe an A flat major 7, and that A flat major 7 could be the 1 chord in A flat, it could be the 4 chord in E flat, it could be the flat 7, and the flat 6, and you are staying in the key of C. It's really limitless. You can do so many things with the dominant chord, and granted, the dominant chord is probably one of the most abusable chords. This holds true for every other chord. I mean, each chord is made up of 3 or more notes, and you can make a lot of interesting substitutions. I did a video on that recently. So what I'm trying to say is, don't think of chords as blocks all the time. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to use established chord progressions or anything like that. I'm just saying each chord moves to the next chord in a certain way. Chord progressions and stuff is looking at the big picture. And that's really good if you're just starting out. If you don't really understand how chords are built, and if you don't really understand how they function, I think it's better to think about chords as blocks for right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, if you kind of have a grasp on that already, I think it's a good idea to start studying the intricacies and the details of how chords relate with one another. Thinking about chords and chord progressions is a great way to look at the overall picture, and it keeps you from becoming overwhelmed. Looking at details helps you to keep from getting stuck in a rut, because it offers you so many possibilities. I don't know, and I don't know if any of this makes sense at all. It's just something that's been going through my head lately, and I wanted to share it. If you think about chords as they're built, think of them as the individual notes and consider the way these individual notes move around. You can come up with lots and lots of really cool ideas. And I'm not saying anything about voice leading or part writing or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that you should arrange things in a certain way or that like 4-part harmony is necessarily the way to go, because I don't think it is. So, and I get emails from people every now and then asking me, I don't understand this progression. I'll give them the information they're asking for, but I caution them and say, don't worry so much about the details because you can really get yourself wrapped up in all of this, and it's not good. It's not good to get yourself wrapped up in specifics when you're trying to write. You know, you don't want to get yourself trapped into, is this going to sound good? Is this going to sound good? Because overall, it just depends on your ears. It doesn't matter whether something is theoretically correct or not. The thing about chords to look at the big picture, but consider the individual notes because it's really freeing if you do that. If you think about all the things you can do with the dominant chord, apply that to any other chord. You can go lots and lots of different ways. I actually did write a song a couple years ago that has a lot of modulations in it. I think might help explain what I'm talking about, maybe. So I'm going to post about that in the Facebook group. I've got a Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/ongakuconceptvgm, and I'm going to post about it there. If you want to join the group, it's a really fun group, and we talk about music theory and games and share our compositions and stuff, and it's really fun. I'm going to post about it there, and maybe we can talk about it and stuff. But it's just an interesting subject to me. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. If you have any questions or think that I'm crazy, you can email me at ongakuconcept@gmail.com or let me know in the comments or something. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next week.